What's going on, boys? How you doing? Gravinder, Vlad, G Money, Ricky, Ginger, Solomon, Stevo. How you guys doing? Another pretty uneventful day. It seems like most of the moves recently have all come overnight instead of during the day. That's why we haven't been trading as well. Me personally, I haven't been trading as much. Looking for one, two, maybe one, two plays a day. That's about it. Just because all the moves have been coming overnight. Just for example, like if you guys look at overnight yesterday, we had 445 SPY calls yesterday. I had a feeling that they were gonna rip it, but I didn't want to hold them overnight because of all the war news and everything. But if you look what I seen yesterday, what I was showing you, this 4 hour RSI was way beat up. So the RSI was way down, the stochastics were way down. Just scroll out on your charts every time the 4 hour. You see down here the stochastic was beat up, but the RSI wasn't beat up. So we got kind of a fake bounce, double bottom, and then rip. But if you look at the chart overall on SPY, anytime RSI and stochastics get really beat up on the 4 hour, like right here on January 22nd, you get a big ripper the next 4 hour candle. So that's what I was looking for yesterday when I took those SPY 445s. What's up, Dhruv? What's up, Mike? How you doing? And that's kind of what played out today. So yesterday we had the RSI really beat up. We had stochastics way at the bottom. We got a little bounce here. Let's see. Now we are right in the middle of the range. So there's not really any telling. Do we dump right back down after cooling off the RSI, or do we rip back up? What's up, Andrew? How you doing? And overall on the overall picture, we have this little range on SPY here. We have the low, we have the highs, and it looks like every time we get up to this line, we've been rejecting the last 4 times. So keep an eye out. If we get to around 450 on SPY, look for this, draw this line, and 450 could be a potential short zone. If we don't absolutely rip through, what's up, Vinay, Rishi, how you guys doing? Draw these lines off the top, these three tops here, and once we get back there, just be very, very careful in calls or puts. We have to see how it reacts off the top line, because this is kind of a bullish pattern, this falling little horizontal. If we break through this, we will go test these highs here at this yellow line. I don't know why it's not showing me the price. That's weird. Around 458, 459-ish. Yeah, 458, 459. We have a double top right now. Right now, we have to watch how it reacts when we get back up to this line. If we get back up to this line. If SPY wants to come down and fill this gap down to 435, it probably will. It probably takes some news or something. What's up, Carlos? How you doing? Swings at the end. That was all the Biden speech. So basically, Biden started talking. As soon as he opened his mouth, I called it in the chat. Like, I think as soon as he starts, the market's going to rug pull. What happened right at the end there? Yash was playing these 444 puts. He was saying the premium is good. I trust him. And right about here, I entered into puts. Got my move, nailed it. And then after that, they didn't pull the rug. They just V-shaped it right back up. You've seen this market V-shape so many times, but sometimes they do just completely pull the rug on it. Like right here, for example, they just completely pulled it all the way to the low of day, and then they V-shaped it back up. So I was expecting a bigger dump here at the end of the day, but buyers stepped in quickly. Other than that, SPY made up for my Tesla loss there at the end because I was expecting a larger dump pull. But other than that, I mean, QQQ held up fairly well. We closed near the high of day on a lot, on almost all indexes, so that's very good, bullish. Other than that, still a very, very choppy range on QQQ overall, guys. Like, look at all these. This is just a bunch of chop. So if you shorted any time in the last since January 24th, I mean, any short from all 4 of these days are underwater. They're just a bunch of chop here. There's no clear direction in the market right now. We do have gaps to fill now, which I don't like. As you guys usually see, like right here, we had a gap up, and then it was strong that day, and then they pulled the rug the next day. And tomorrow is FOMC minutes, guys. If there's ever a reason to dump the market, it's FOMC. Because right now, that is all the news. This Ukraine stuff is just hoorah, like hearsay. XLF looked the weakest all day. I mean, we had a double top. We had this little V-shaped recovery, and now we're going right back down. We touched the 50-day moving average yesterday, bounced kind of nice off it, but today we even closed with a large upper wick, which means people were profit taking. We'll check it out, Vlad. Just give me a second. IWM here, same thing. We closed near high of the day. Again, IWM is the strongest sector, which is super weird, thinking it was like the weakest sector. It led us all the way down, and now it's leading us all the way back up. Remember, I told you back in the day, IWM usually leads because even when we had dumps on SPY, IWM will bounce first and it will bounce the hardest. So that's why I love scalping this one. I love playing IWM, as you guys are well aware. Recently, there hasn't been too much to play on it. I mean, there's a bear flag here. We closed above it again, just like we did on February 9th. Do we get over 207.50? 207.50 close for IWM would be very, very bullish in my opinion. We'll get right back into that range from January. So just watch that 207.50. If tomorrow we go up and test it and reject it, we can come right back down. If we get over it and close above it, the whole market should turn bullish. ES, 4 hours, same story as SPY, guys. I was just showing you. RSI and stochastics were super beat up, and then overnight we got that huge rip. We got a $60 move in that 4-hour candle right here, kind of consolidated all day and ended today strongly. So keep an eye on futures tonight as well. Barring any bad news overnight, we should be bullish tomorrow, just on the fact that we closed near the high of the day on most of the indexes. And the Biden speech didn't really affect markets too much. Yields, still keeping an eye on them. They're just ripping, guys. Like, they're 2.04. They haven't been this high since, let's see, where last time. Since July of 2019. That's the last time the 10-year was this high. And right now, if it goes and takes out these highs, it's not affecting the market as much as I thought it would, but you still have to keep an eye on it. Any complete rip or a complete dump on yields should lead to growth melt up. VIX, end of day, they're very, very tricky. I mean, they gapped it down. Look at this. When they started ripping SPY, they gapped it. They left a gap from 25 all the way down to, they left a gap of like 10-15 cents, and then they came and covered that gap, bring it back down, and then they ripped it at the end of the day. So let's see what VIX wants to do tomorrow as well. For now, still on the bigger picture, we're still looking at higher lows, higher highs, guys. So right now, volatility is still building. There's no sign of volatility going away, especially with all the news. That shouldn't be a surprise. Ukraine, Fed, Russia, interest rate hikes, all that kind of stuff, right? So just keep an eye on the VIX always. Let's move over to some charts here. We had Tesla. We failed it at the end there. SE, the one that got away. So yesterday, we got a double bottom in SE intraday. We jumped in 135, calls for around 3. Me and Yash stopped us out, and today if we held, we would have been $14 in the money. Those calls that we got at 3 went to around 15 today, I believe. So missed out. Like, obviously it sucks, but you're always going to miss plays, guys. You're never going to get every single play spot on. If SE gapped down and moved down today, I would have been just as mad that I didn't stop out, right? So you have to have discipline no matter what. And right now, SE has a gap to fill all the way to 155, guys. We closed at 149 today. We have another $6 move in SE possible. The reason I jumped in the SE calls yesterday was this was just way overdone. The news was way overdone. First of all, India was banning China. SE is a Singapore company. I know a lot of Chinese investors are in it. That's probably why it affected it so much. But look at this. Look at the move. Just rip. So price action will tell you how big the news was. This is all looks like fear selling, panic selling, and then today was the real move. Big move up, 8-day moving average at 152, gap to fill to 155. I expect continuation on SE tomorrow. Let's see if it stays strong for the rest of the week here. Pinterest started off very ugly yesterday and today, but nice little bounce at the end of the day there. Looked seemingly stronger than a lot of stocks I was watching. And the key level on Pinterest is still 26, guys. Any close above 26, super bullish on Pinterest. Tesla, we missed a little scalp at the end there. Just because we thought we were going to get a bigger dump off Biden, right? This morning, absolutely perfect. Came down to support, ripped it, came into resistance, and just found resistance. All day, chop, chop, chop. Got a dump here. Thought it would flush lower. Didn't. Came back up into the range. Chop, chop, chop. Off Biden, the red flag on the Tesla puts was when we went to VWAP on Tesla, SPY was breaking through it. So if Tesla's holding while SPY is dumping, then as soon as SPY turns around, you know Tesla's going to rip because it held. So that's the red flag we got there. We should have stopped out right there. We thought we were going to get a fake out and move lower, but it is what it is. Closed above the range. Very, very bullish. Let's see Tesla gap up tomorrow if there's no news tonight. BAC still looks weak to me. I mean, look at that daily candle. We could not stay over 48 for the life of us. I think we need to take some farther out bank puts, guys, just based on how these charts look. Perfect double top on BAC. We did have one green day here during that last dump. 2 green days here. Actually, it dumped during the day, but we opened higher. So don't be afraid of little fake outs. Right now, bank charts are super, super weak. You got BAC way down here. You got JPM way in the gutter. Let's see if my internet works. There you go. We got a little bear flag here on JPM. We broke above it. Now we're right back below it. So keep an eye on JPM as well to make a move lower. GS is another one I'm watching. Right in the bear flag, guys. It looks like it's ready to break down. I don't know why banks are so weak. Look at the stochastics curling down too on the daily. So keep an eye on all the banks for shorts. They look like the weakest sector in the entire market. Nvidia earnings tomorrow after market, one of the strongest companies. Today was the first time I haven't had Nvidia long in over a month. Those 300 calls for March 4th paid me very, very well. And that play was perfect. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. Big ripper today. Obviously, they're going to have good earnings. In my opinion, I think they're going to crush earnings. But what Nvidia does, I've seen in the past, they usually price in the earnings before. So if you're thinking about playing Nvidia through earnings, maybe play it smaller than you usually would gamble. Just because Nvidia usually prices in the move before. So if we have another rip tomorrow in Nvidia, I doubt it'll rip a third straight day after earnings. It could. Obviously, it's one of the best companies in the world. But in my experience, I haven't seen Nvidia gap up too often after earnings. And we're right back into this little flag here. And this flag can continue all the way till Nvidia's at 300. So tomorrow, if we get a dip on Nvidia, I might go long for earnings. If it continues to rip tomorrow, I will not touch it. Other than that, great play. Very happy with it. And we'll look for another entry into it. Facebook absolutely crushed in the beginning of the day. V-shape back up. Almost closed at opening prices. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it, brother. Isaac, I just went over SE. Facebook completely crushed today. Then it started getting some flow near the low of the day. Some guy was waiting for it that low. Ended on a huge hammer candle, as you see here. Let's see if Facebook can get some momentum. I'm not really too interested in it. Short-term options, sure. Long-term, don't really like what the earnings had to say. I don't like that they're losing. Their growth is slowing down. And they're only projecting 3 to 11% revenue gain. That's not me. That's not good for a growth company, in my opinion. Do have a little wedge here to watch. If we get over today's high tomorrow and break above this little wedge, then you can see a little bit of continuation. I mean, a lot of shorts have to cover soon, and a lot of people are probably value buying it down here by the dip, you know. So wait for that. Wait for the wedge to break out, and we'll see what happens with Facebook. CRM is one I'm watching very, very closely. Ended the day very strong. We got those calls very, very cheap yesterday, guys. All the news stuff threw me off. Should have ignored it. It happens. It's okay. Here is CRM setup. We have negative divergence, which means the RSI is showing momentum is to the upside, whereas price is going to the downside. So I'm expecting a flip in CRM. I'm expecting a big rip. We got earnings the first week of March, I believe. And if this one gets going, the first target would be 225-ish. And then over that, it can rip all the way to the 50-day moving average, which is at 237-ish. So keep an eye on CRM. I will be looking for an entry back into this one. Today we close under the 8-day moving average, which is at 214.61. If we can close above that tomorrow, it might be ripe for calls into March 18th. AXP does look strong, I'm not going to lie. Hourly, 198 is a key level. Anytime we close below 198, I'm fine with it. And those calls, puts that we have this week, probably we took a lot of profit last Friday. The rest of them, I'm just watching closely. If there is a market dump, I do expect it to dump. Other than that, I mean, it looks completely super strong, guys. Like, look at the volume that came in the end of the day. It just kind of hugged 198 all day. If you look at it on the daily, it looked like it was a reversal candle on the daily here. We got 2 days of down, but now it's kind of holding the 8-day and bounced back up. So if it rejects 198 tomorrow again, if it closes under 198 tomorrow, I do expect a lot of downside on AXP. If we close above 198, I think it goes up a lot more. Yeah, Ricky, we got to watch this CRM. So, Amazon, another trash one. The big tech didn't do too well today, despite SPY and QQQ being strong and the indexes being strong. You see Amazon closed red. You have Google closed red. Facebook barely closed red, but it did close red. Microsoft super weak all day. Just complete dump. And then we came back a little bit. What did we open and close at on Microsoft? Microsoft opened at 301. So Microsoft was actually up 46 cents on the day. And this, I mean, it's very iffy, guys. Why do I say iffy? Is because usually when a stock closes below the 200-day moving average, when it reclaims it, the next day, that's usually very bullish. So you guys see what Microsoft did here on January 25th. One close under, one close on top, and then it ripped for 4 or 5 days. Same thing happens on a lot of stocks. If you watch them, I don't know if Apple ever closed under the 200 day. It's not even close. Yeah, Apple never closed under. Let me show you an example. So I'll show you GS. GS closed under the 200 day here. This is the example I want to show you. So it closed under the 200 day on 20th December. The next day we closed green, 4 or 5 day rip. Almost every time. You can look at any chart. Anytime it undercuts the 200 day, like Nvidia, the only day it closed under the 200 day was January 27th. It continued on a 4-day rip after because it closed the next day above it. So be careful in Microsoft. If you are in, maybe wait 4 or 5 days and add to your position if you're still bearish at that point. But anytime I've seen a stock close one day under the 200-day moving average, next day it closes over it, it usually goes on a 4 or 5 day run. So that kind of changes my analysis on the whole market. If Microsoft goes on a 4 or 5 day run, I do think the rest of the market will as well. So I'm leaning kind of bullish for tomorrow as well, barring any news, guys. If some news comes, I can't predict that. But for right now, if Microsoft does go on a 4 or 5 day run, I am bullish. What do we got? Google. Did Google ever close under 200 day? See, it closed under. The second day was under, so that's fine. That's weakness. But this right here, where it closed February 11th under the 200 day moving average, next day we closed above it. Now it's due for a 3-4 day run, in my opinion. So just be careful with puts here, guys. It does look like we want to run for a little bit, even to suck in more longs before we really dump it. That is definitely a possibility. But other than that, let's see. It is a bullish pattern. One day under, next day over. TTD will go over here. Amazing company. I actually did take a few calls. I didn't want to call it out. It's earnings. And it's complete gamble. I took some $85 calls for March on TTD. I really like ad tech, the whole space, the companies, everything is great. Perry paid well. MGNI we've hit in the past. TTD we've hit. Pubum we hit. All of them, right? And TTD, I love the company. Very strong company, growing like crazy. And we closed above, well, we got above the 80-50 resistance. Tomorrow, if we get above, tomorrow morning is earnings. And we closed above my key resistance of $80.50. Good earnings tomorrow, it'll gap up. Bad earnings tomorrow, it'll gap down. There's simple as that. Like, none of this chart does not matter right now because earnings are pre-market tomorrow. So can't really say much about TTD. I do have a few. I really like the company, and AdTech's been doing very well this year, as you guys seen from Perry. Let's see, UPST ripping after hours. Vlad, like we talked about, any stock that goes down into earnings probably rips. Any stock that rips into earnings probably go down. So right now you're seeing UPST up almost 20% after hours. Great news for the whole growth sector. That means a lot. Oh, RBLX. Take my words back. RBLX down 15%. Wow. Okay, so RBLX down, UPST up. RBLX is, whoa, UPST, let's see where it opens tomorrow morning, but I do have resistance here at 140.60. I don't know where those lines are from, but they're somewhere. 140.60, I have a line here. Oh, it's a gap fill from way back in the day. 140.60 is a key resistance. If we open up above that tomorrow, it can really run. There's a lot of shorts stuck in UPST. What's up, Patrick? How you doing? And, an open above 140.60 cents on UPST tomorrow, it can really run. All these shorts will be underwater. Anyone that shorted from January 4th till today on UPST, tomorrow morning they're going to get squeezed out of their position and look for a momentum move in UPST tomorrow, actually. TTD, RBLX, we already did. SE, we did. Airbnb, one of the strongest companies. I really wanted stock around 150. Didn't get it, but Airbnb is up around 4%. Let's wait for the conference calls on these ones. They can change everything as soon as they provide guidance. Viac is down. Ouch. Sorry, Yash. It happens. Let's see in the morning, guys. These initial earnings reactions are all a bunch of quick-handed people. We have to see where we open up in the morning. We have to wait till the guidance is given by the company. Guidance is one of the most important things. If a company is expected to grow 10% this year and they say they grow 5%, their stock's going to get smashed. If they're expected to grow 10%, they say they're going to grow 20%. It's great. So just wait for the conference calls, wait for the prices in the morning, and then we'll have a better picture on all these earnings plays. But UPST being up that much is very good for growth. We can do Apple as well, sure. Apple looked very bearish a few days ago. We got our breakdown. I think Bookie was in puts. We had this rip. So what happened was we were just sitting on top of these moving averages here. As soon as we lost the moving averages, I said in the newsletter we have a room down to 165-ish. Right here, we got our move to 166. It held this wedge. And if you guys want to know where this line is from, zoom out. Look how long this has been a support level. This is a weekly chart, guys. So all the way from August of 2020, tested again January of 2021, tested again September of 2021, finally broke through November of 21, retested a couple times, came back down, and then ripped back up. And now we're just kind of sitting right on top of the wedge. Where do we go from here? If we close inside this wedge on the daily, if we close inside, we can go all the way down here to the 50-day moving average at 146. If we continue to hold it, it can launch off. And launch off, I mean it goes back to all-time highs. Those are the two keys for this Friday. If Apple closes below 166, we're going to go down a lot more in my opinion. If Apple closes anywhere above 166, it's possible we just rip right back to all-time highs. A lot depends on tomorrow's FOMC minutes, guys. So make sure you're watching those, and we'll interpret them for you in the chat like we always do. Thank you guys for attending. I'll see you guys tomorrow.